What's up, folks? Casual Dad here, and I wanted to take a quick minute to go ahead and jump in on the current campaign. Before I do that, though, let's check in on the store, because in the store, you definitely want to go to events, and then in this stack here in the campaign starter packs right now, which I've already bought it, for 500 plasma, there is a Supreme Commander Gosar pack in there, plus a bunch of Tyranid random cards. If you want to do this campaign, especially as a newer player who is sort of struggling to find their ground in this one, I really strongly recommend Supreme Commander Gosar. Absolutely incredible warlord, completely ridiculous, especially in a max level campaign like this one. It really will help a great deal. And real quick, before I jump into this too much, I do want to go ahead and comment that like a lot of games out there, but I feel like pretty dramatically Warhammer Combat Cards has to balance what the game is for between your like hardcore dedicated players who've been playing for a long time before you say it. Not necessarily the people who have sunk a lot of money into it, but the ones who have put in time and or money in any combination. The folks that like truly love the game, have a bunch of stuff, and want really top tier competitive campaigns, like really hard stuff. Um, and there's a lot of talk in the discords whenever campaigns are too easy. And most campaigns are somewhere in the mid range. Some are too easy, and some are too hard, which, yeah, they are extremely challenging. And I get it. I get complaints about it. I totally understand not enjoying the really hard campaigns too much, but I understand why they're there. And if it's too hard, just skip it. It's fine. And I kind of appreciate the nod on this that the rewards in this campaign are good, but they're not that good that you feel like you're really missing out on something if you don't do it. And I mean, hopefully I'm not just dunking too much on the rewards in this one, but it feels to me like the point of doing this is to play the hard campaign and beat it because it's hard. So I wanted to go ahead and comment on that. Also, one more thing that I learned about today is I know two warlords that folks mentioned they're getting stuck on are Creed, it's fairly early on, and then Tolmaron is somewhat in the middle there. And the biggest thing about Creed is you want to obviously, you want to, however you possibly can, control what you're killing and either wipe the board every time, which is really easy with the parasite. I shouldn't say easy, but it's probably the best place to do it is the parasite of Mortrex, because if you hit stuff really hard that's next to other stuff, you can get that cascade to take out things that aren't even the primary target. Parasite's really, really good in this campaign in general because you're going up against decks that are bigger than max size, and you need to be really efficient about getting kills versus losing cards. And that's where Parasite's really strong because it can actually give you those overflow kills in a melee heavy faction. So it subs all of your melee cards are now barrage, ish, aside from not removing shields. I did want to comment on though that the reason the Tolmaron deck was really hard for people is because it's got the Astreus, the blue brick, the Ultramarines blue brick that's a shielded and insanely powerful card. I wanted to say on that it is really, really strong, but it's does not have any kind of splash damage, only has single target damage. So you just feed it expendable cards as long as you possibly can, and you don't even have to worry about the thing. Because in any campaign like this, and I'm just going to go ahead and play it, one of the things you have to be thinking about as you're going through this is if you see something really scary, a single card that's really, really scary, you have to have that moment where you're like, okay, can I kill that? Do I have time to kill that? And then is it worth it to kill that? Or am I better off just ignoring it and going on with the game? And with that big scary thing, the Astreus, I personally think that it's best to just ignore it. Just leave it alone. And then play around it, because what I did is it was still on the table with I think 2 shields left, and I won the game because I killed Tolmaron because I just ignored it. And I played Supreme Commander Gosar to do it and just fed it endless cards. God, what an awful draw. I just fed it endless cards, and that was enough to fairly comfortably take care of it. But there's always the option of running Supreme Commander. Well, sorry, so Supreme Commander Gosar, feeding endless cards to it. But there's always the option of playing the Turvagon, which a viewer mentioned that this is the way he did it. The Turvagon is a really strong piece because it will give you an endless sacrificial card that you can always keep in front of the Astreus. You can tie down that entire flank of the board and not even worry about it because you have something there to absorb it that you'll keep getting back. So yeah, those are the 2 ways to deal with that. But really, long story short, if you're against a Tolmaron deck with an Astreus, kill everything else. Don't kill the Astreus. The Astreus is going to be basically invincible. So ignore it. Don't stress about it. And then spend your efforts elsewhere. Now, real quick to talk about this and talk about some of the other matchups. This is against Supreme Commander Vahl. I'm live now, so of course I'm probably going to lose this one, but we'll see. Supreme Commander Vahl is incredibly powerful, but Supreme Commander Gosar So Vahl is really, really good because she has very consistent randomness in her favor, where she gets those miracles that will do a lot of difference in terms of keeping cards alive or getting kills that she shouldn't. But Gosar has the advantage there because you get a lot of free cards, and those free cards compensate for her miracles by just giving you extra stuff. So you have more die rolls to make, even if she's got loaded dice. So you make her roll enough dice, she's not going to be able to pull it off every single time. So you can see here, I'm fairly comfortably sitting here with more cards left in my deck. She's getting the miracles, but I'm still getting enough kills to go ahead and make progress here. And anytime your cards that are under 10 points die, you get a totally naked token version of them put back in your deck. So this is how I was able to hold down the Astraeus. This is how I'm able to keep up with some of the scarier things like this. She got 3 things in the deck there. And I'll talk about this deck in a second, but it's got a bunch of Endless. And then, ooh, do we chance it? She's got a 50-50 shot of getting the Miracle off. We'll go ahead and chance it. Oh, we got it. Nice. So I was concerned the Miracle would do enough damage to save that thing in the middle, but it did not. That's bad. But yeah, we'll talk about the deck. Oh, God. Yeah, I was going to say, the combination of that Miracle plus Big Game Hunter plus that built-up attack was not good. But I should have this. TM, fingers crossed. And obviously, I've got some really powerful cards, so I can't really compare my collection against most players. It's not really a fair comparison. Don't do it. Don't kill me. She got me. Killed. But let me go ahead and talk about the deck real quick. And I didn't play that all that well. And I'll go ahead and focus a little bit more and talk a little bit less about other stuff. Got my 2 strikes. But yeah, long story short, get Supreme Commander Gosar, ignore the Astraeus, play the campaign if you want to, but don't feel pressured around this. There are going to be really, really more fun campaigns coming up throughout the holiday break. I do enjoy these, but I don't expect to beat them because they are really, really hard. But I did want to talk about this deck real quick. This guy, I think I got in a promo code not too long ago. I don't remember which one it was, but I would look up a list of the promo codes to see if you can find that guy. This guy I got in a lucky drop. Most of this stuff I've had for a long time. Supreme Commander Gosar I got in the drop this week, and also had a promo copy of him. But yeah, so just looking at the deck, you want to put in a bunch of Endless cards, and then you want to fill with some other fairly flexible, beefy attack cards. I really like this guy because that Psionic Blast, when you're sitting on like 200 Psychic, is really good. And I mentioned earlier with the Parasite that you really want that efficiency. You want that level of efficiency where you're getting more kills than you're losing stuff by a higher margin than normal, which is why this is especially challenging. That means careful play. That means lucky draws. That means something that does more damage than it should. So Psionic Blast is a great example. Barrage is a great example. Death Blow is a good example. All of those things that help you get more efficiency out of your cards. And with Gosar, you get a, what is it, 10%? 10%. Every single card you play gives every single card in your deck plus 10% attack stats. All of their attack stats, regardless of what type. And in addition to that, your sub 10-point cards, you get that naked copy in the deck. So you get tons of efficiency out of your power cards becoming more powerful, and then also getting a lot of endless use out of your endless stuff. And it's an incredibly satisfying warlord. Really powerful. It's not actually that bad to play against either, which is always interesting. That was a terrible draw. Jeebus. All right, that thing's just going to one-shot this guy like it did the other guy. Yeah, combination of a timely miracle. But you know what? I got you. I got you. You only got a 50-50 shot. Let's see how much of a beating you can take. Probably a lot, because that's a lot of miracles. He could get a miracle in all 3 of these. And they did on that one, but it wasn't enough. Ah, excellent. Oh, that feels good. I needed that to die, because that thing hit really hard last game. And now I'm just chattering. I won't make this video too long. I just wanted to go ahead and share the points I've done already, and then maybe if you wanted to see it, you could see some of these games played. Man, a 20% chance? Well, but the miracle chances are low, and I need that to die. Going Psychic, huh? And you can see here, I just have that steady flow of sub 10-point cards to feed. You can get bad draws that you'll end up playing your expensive cards early. That's how I got some of these on the deck earlier. It's particularly bad in the bigger decks because you need more of your expensive cards to fill to 400 points. I really didn't have that problem in the latter because you can just fill your entire deck with endless cards and then get your stuff out. So this guy's sitting at, yeah, a lot of power here. Unfortunately, though, I'm also charging up miracles. The better I'm doing, the better the miracles are. And so I do have to worry about that. There's the miracle. And I'm getting low on cards. This guy is really scary. I haven't seen this one before. Really, really good in a Supreme Commander Vahl deck. He's got 2 left. There's not much to them from what I've seen. But my Ghostar is getting frighteningly squishy here. It's got a 40% chance. When will the miracles trigger? I could kill all 3 of these, but a miracle will save 1 of them, I think. Give me the guy on the right. Didn't give me the middle. Okay, got him anyway. Ah, come on, jerk. A miracle on attack and defense. Ooh! All right. Cross your fingers. I still think I got this. God, you get a miracle against me there, too? And the reason I think I got this is because I'm hitting for like 400 damage. I don't got this. Crap! All right. Think you got me. Now, there is a downside to Ghostar. To go ahead and say this. I'm going to have to refresh this and try again. The downside to Ghostar is that you do end up with a bunch of fodder cards, which is obviously a problem because they don't actually contribute very much to the game aside from pumping up and keeping your other stuff alive. And in that Vahl deck, she's got enough punchy stuff with that invincible big game hunter that it does deal with that stuff pretty well. So we're going to refresh this once. I'm going to try this with the Parasite, which is going to be... Do we do the Parasite? Do we do the Tervigon? We can do the Tervigon. I'm going to go ahead and bust out the Tervigon. I haven't done this yet. Let's see, and we'll look for some of our best cards. With the Tervigon, I really like going a mix of ranged and psychic. You know what? If we're going to max level, bring it. We're going to go a little bit ranged. And I'm pulling out some of the best ranged cards in the entire faction, especially at max level. I would run this sucker all the time if mine wasn't like level 4 or something. This one's incredibly good. And you're going to see me run a bit of a weirder mix of stuff, but also there's going to be more of it. Except that I'm leaving some space open so I have my infinite cards that can just pop on the board willy-nilly. Some shield clearing stuff. And we still have 8 points. Do I want 8 points, or do I want to make something more expensive? I'm going to go ahead and throw in some Medicaid, because I do have some big performers here I want to keep alive. So that. Where's the other guy? 7. Yeah, there you are. Double Medicaid. And I can up this guy to something in the 70s. And I don't know that that's necessarily the right choice, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. 76, huh? I guess it's this guy again. Yeah, he's the shooty one. All right, give me some target acquired. He didn't do that great that last round, but we'll see. All right, so we're going to try this again. I've got a combination of poison. I've got the infinite endless card. If I am lucky enough to get it in an early draw, good. Otherwise, you don't really benefit from it until your deck starts thinning and you get better draws, but we'll see. Morvenn Vahl goes first. So we didn't get it yet. There it is. Nice. So getting that early is good, but then I still have to redraw because I can't be sure yet that I'm going to keep it forever. I did want to take this big guy because it's utterly terrifying. I have one. And also because that poison ignores Vahl's trait. So she can miracle all she wants. She's still taking the poison damage. So it's not going to... Cards won't just live when they shouldn't necessarily. At least not every time. And then... Discouraged shooting. It's going to hit me with a... Who did shoot me? Okay. And used up all his miracles. Oh, God, that hurt. Still got 11 cards in there that I'm going to have to deal with, so we'll have to figure this out. And this guy lost 300 hit points in that process. But this thing doesn't have very high hit points, and poison will go under the shields. So knowing that this is probably the biggest card I need to kill, being able to land the poison on that is really good. Because in both of those games, it really was this thing being clutch with some random backup on the edges of the board that kept him alive. You know what? There we go. Miracle it up. What do you got? Boop. And here again, we see that Miracle saved this, but it's going to die this turn no matter what because of the poison, which is great. God, that miracle on the big game hunter. Oof. You're not dealing with that. Here, have a Termagant. When I first started playing Warhammer combat cards, when I was a new player, the Termagant was the thing that really made the game for me. It was how I got as high as I did, or the Tervigon by way of the Termagant, or vice versa, that it was such a powerful piece to just have available. Just because you have this thing, you just throw it in here, and it's always there. 50-50 shot, huh? I don't like it. And now my board state is dramatically better. Not only can I kind of infinitely hold down a flank, basically wherever I want. Man, he's got a miracle on that every time. Because I have both of these and I have my infinite card. But again, I have stuff here. All right, cool. We got this. Go ranged and kill that, even if he gets a miracle. So this thing stays alive. And I can keep feeding this one to Vahl herself. And then the game is decided, basically infinitely, because I can always feed more Tervigons. It gives her infinite miracles, which is a bummer, but I can also take them out with that precision shot. So I got 2 miracles off there, and eventually this damage is going to go through no matter what. So here we go. So yeah, the Tervigon, and this was not as intense. Oh, wow, that hurt. Of all the builds I could possibly have gone with, this is one of the most approachable. One of the ones that most new players are the most likely to have. Tervigon's great. Should be a really good one to get you through this. That is something I've noticed a lot about most of the decks that have been in the campaign so far. They don't have a lot of edge clearing. I believe there was... I already claimed this. There was one Logan Grimnar deck with the Space Wolves that would be extremely challenging. I would not take Gosar, or I would not take the Tervigon against that, because the Termagant just gives them free damage buffs that hit you from the side all over the place. Let's see what's next. Played just a little bit longer, but not too much here. But I just kind of wanted to show how this goes. It is a max level campaign. It really, I hate to say it could be worse, but it could be worse. Being Tyranids against Marines, and it's very thematic, which of course I always enjoy. We're going to those. Hello. Oh, look. Now it's his turn, so if I feed him that, excuse me. Yeah, that gives this guy a clear shot on my shooty boy, which is not great, but, you know, is what it is. And we're going to go ahead and throw out our Psionic Blast early so we can deal with some of these extra lives. And the shields that I'm sure are coming. I do also kind of want to keep my poison back so that I can do that later in the game against things like the Acheron himself. Like the Acheron himself. The big game hunter's a bummer because every single thing in my deck is going to be vulnerable to that. Love it when they do that. Yeah, do this. Another big game hunter. Yikes. Okay. And that's an edge that the Tervigon has because you can lock those things down with less risk than most other warlords would be very vulnerable to big game hunter at this deck points, which is what makes them a little bit scary. But you're not seeing barrage, you're not seeing a lot of death blow, you're not even seeing as much shields as you could. So this is really not bad. I know people were kind of upset by the campaign, or some folks have definitely had a tough time with it, but I like the theme of it. It's clearly challenging, but it could be worse. And again, I really appreciate the theme going into this, so that it is very much, it's very clearly Ultramarines. Oh, here we go. Do we do it? Feels too soon, but we're going to do it anyway. Now, one thing that you really want to watch out for is you can have your Termagant locked in a place. Like if you get a Termagant across from, oh geez, what's his name? Makari. You get a Termagant across from Makari, that is absolutely the worst possible place for it because it will just never get out of there unless you somehow kill Makari from somewhere else or lose other things. And when you have the Termagant on the table, you want to lose the Termagant. So, Captain Obvious is obvious. I don't want my precision shot to go off against this guy. I want to keep wailing on Acheron himself, so we'll go here. Bloop. We got Akaran poisoned. We got a couple shields down. He's toast. And this is level... Where's the level on this? I don't see it in here. This is high up. This is most of the way through the campaign at this point. How far does this go? Now let's have another quick look at the deck to go ahead and talk about it. I had it up when I made it, but let's go ahead and talk about why I did what I did. I want to say I did as I did it. Never mind. We won't worry about that. Let's open some packs, and then we'll call the video a video. It's a little bit late. I wanted to make sure to go ahead and cover this while people are running the campaign, while people are banging their heads against it, because this is when it's timely. So. Ooh, bunch of wild cards. All right, but we'll look at the deck real quick. So here again, I've got this is a combination of durable, shooty, and it's got the shields, it's got the hit points, it's got the damage, has a melee attack, so it can attack back and clear shields and take out some flimsy stuff, especially at max level. This guy is arguably the best card in the entire Tyranid faction. I stand by that. Combination of shields and hit points plus that psionic blast. Wonderful. 2 Medicates to keep him alive and kind of thin the deck. And then these 3 really could be anything. I mean, really, all 5 of those could be anything. Your biggest, punchiest stuff, but you want to lean on durability, so fear, shields. High hit points are good, but they're not going to save you because of the high volume of attacks with Big Game Hunter and extra damage. So you do want some of those defensive traits, maybe a little Medicae, and you definitely want ablative cards that you can put in to soak damage for your power pieces. That's one of the things Tyranids do really well, and a great thing about being up against Space Marines is you know that the things that will punish you for that are rare. You might hit Logan Grimnar, which is a problem. You might hit the Helbrecht, which is a problem. They both thrive on killing chaff cards, but every other warlord out there does not like being walled in by chaff cards. So you've got odds are better than not that you'll go up against something that you can benefit from actually using the endless cards. A lot of us have gotten out of the habit of putting in cheap chaff cards because they can be a liability in the broader pool. But in a campaign like this one, known opponent, basically known enemies you're going up against, known decks. You get one loss, it's like, all right, this is not one I should use a blade of cards in, and then go from there. Let me go ahead and take a quick look at my Parasite deck, just to look at it. And now this one is basically spread the points evenly all across. All of them are melee heavy. All of them have some utility. Endless, fear, regen, fear over here to deal with some of the durability, make sure things are a little bit tougher. And then I've got Death Blow, Death Blow, Death Blow? No. Death Blow and Death Blow here to kind of clear stuff out. I've got Target Acquired, and then I've got Furious Charge on these guys to go ahead and help do some extra damage and punch some stuff through. But really, this is just all about hitting really, really hard across the entire board, so you can trigger as many of those overflow attacks as you possibly can with Parasite and have the oomph to both make it to the end and get through to the end. Let's go ahead and actually deploy this one. Now that I've talked about it, I want to play it. Now, this one has some really bad matches. This is not one I would run up against Tolmaron. You can get away with this one, but it does... The downside of that Astraeus deck is that everything else in the deck was also not really durable enough to give you enough explosive damage to take out the Astraeus, so you really are straight up better ignoring it. I do like spreading the points out evenly, because that gives you more cards that are not in the big game hunter range. Also, I kind of enjoyed doing this one because as much as I enjoy Gosar, you don't really get to do all your power pieces because you're min-maxing to make sure you have enough endless cards to get the most out of the ability. Holy crap, you took a beating. Bloop. Death Blow. Oh, do we have it? I already used both my Death Blows. Ah, no. That's right. Oof, this thing. This is a newer card, so I don't think of it very much, but wow, what a damage flow. Bloop, bloop. Overflow damage, and then look, we're on Greyfax herself, and then whatever horrible things she has in the wings. And 60% bonus on this one, okay. Still, the Endless on Old One Eye really helps him tank hits, like exactly that. And here I just need to punch as much damage into Gosar as I possibly, or into Greyfax as I possibly can. I do kind of need to do this. And that double melee buff is going to help a lot. This Death Blow, assuming that this is all cleared, I should have enough to punch through. Oh yeah, for sure, especially with this boom we're going to have over here. Yeah, got it. The readies, so I prepped that. I knew that I was going to get that board wipe, or was fairly certain I was going to get that board wipe. Used my melee readies to do this, and then had this set up in the wings. Even if I didn't do lethal here, then this guy would kill this, and then that would be enough to do lethal on Greyfax. So even if it was a little bit short, I would still have been able to pull it through there. These campaigns are always interesting because the difficulty level sinks and spikes wildly. Like that was nowhere near as scary of a deck as the other ones that I've seen. And there have been a couple along the way that were on that level where it's like, all right, that was an easy game. But also a lot of it is just like, if you are, I have a lot of very, very powerful cards, but really there's a lot of very common Tyranid cards that would fill the role that any of these do. So this shouldn't be too outside the bounds of what people can do, I hope. Okay, this is going to be a big problem. So the lion, oh god, this is one where I do not want to run this deck. And what's the threshold? As long as they're above half health, they attack first. Yeah. Big game hunter, gross. So much big game hunter. Oh look, more big game hunter. Great. You're right. There's some death blow in there. Now I am playing my Furious Charges really early. I don't know that that's the best choice. But one thing I was going for here is playing a little chicken, where I was trying to put enough melee damage on the table that he did not want to attack me with melee, which is clearly his strongest trait. And now I'm going to get shot. And ow. And punched back. I do really love playing Berserk against the Lion, because they'll charge up your attacks before you even hit him. That's always a good time. But this still is going to be a much scarier game than that last one. I say that, but those overflow deaths are really making a difference in this, which is not surprising at all, but still, it's one of those things where, in theory, you know it's going to happen, but then it makes a big difference when you actually see it. A little melee ready to deal with that debuff. We'll see if it's enough to take this down. Is not enough to take them all down. And the big scary thing in this is, like, even if I feel like I'm doing well, I have to deal with the lion at the end. And the lion is frightening. Okay, what do we got? You got, I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to go here. And I'm really hoping not to have the parasite on the board when the lion hits the board, because that will be, I will lose. And I am close to being able to pull that off. Oh, taunt, of course he did. Of course he did. What's my last card? Oh, excellent. Excellent. And charge this up as hard as we can, because I want to punch him square in the... Wow, 5. That was a huge mistake. Crap. Okay. And he still has 3 shields, and I'm going to take one of them down, and this is nowhere... Oh. So that's his fine... No. What? Didn't I just hit him with Furious Charge? No, he had 3 shields. Okay. Yeah, I'm host. He got me. Oh, I should have hit him 1 turn sooner. That was my bad. Okay. The lion. Against that, that's where we're going to bust out Gosar. So that's a hard wall where pure melee or pure range would really struggle, because he's got a good mix of ranged and melee, and they attack first. And you need to kill a lot of them before your Warlord hits the table, and you don't want a Warlord as squishy as the Parasite. So let's try that with Supreme Commander Gosar. And that will be the end of it. Then I'll call the video. I keep saying this is going to be a short video, and then I just keep talking. True to form. All right, and again, we want to play our endless cards first. Every time we play one, we get that flashy bit that says it is. That was wrong, because that's the shooty one, that's the punchy one. I should have switched them. There we go. Excuse me. Hopefully he goes ranged. Excellent. What? Oh, man, I keep mixing him up with the other guys. Let's go ahead and charge up some readies, so that when I hit him, I'm ready for it. Excuse me. Now, I mentioned every time you play a 10-point card, or a card that's 10 points or less, you get the free copy that comes back. Every time you play a card at all, you get an additional you get that bonus to the attack stats of every single card that's still in your deck. Now, one thing I may not have mentioned is that endless cards trigger that twice. So every endless card gives every other card you have a 20% bonus, and if it's an endless card that's under 10 points, it also oh man, that hurt. If it's an endless card that's under 10 points, it also gives you a third copy. So you get 3 copies of a card for every endless you have that's under 10 points, and then you get plus 20% to your attack stats of your whole deck. So it's really, really powerful synergy. And my God, my deck went fast. And I don't know if I have enough to punch through 7 opponents here. I mean, I have enough melee to take these guys out, but that's a lot. I took a lot of the scary stuff out of here, and that was the best possible draw here, having that big game hunter across from my heavy psyker, or my shielded guy rather, not just that he's a psyker. And my final card is Gosar, who's incredibly powerful. This is probably worth it to take this guy out, except he's attacking first. So I wouldn't. This guy's losing that is a problem. Losing both of those is a huge problem. Man, okay. Great thing about the whatchamacallit over here is that he will come back. Do I have enough to take him out? Not if he shoots me. Oof, with the big game hunter. Ouch. Okay. This may actually be a Turvagon one. Okay, we'll try the Turvagon against this. And this may be the wall that I hit that takes a little bit more experimentation. But if I end up my strikes, I'm just done. So we'll go ahead and try it. Poison good. Yeah, last one. Take me home, Turvagon. And again, I have a ton of nostalgia for the Turvagon because it was the warlord that really carried me when I was a new player. Because it turns out, if you don't have full deck points, getting free cards is nice. And also being able to lock down a lane completely is nice. But also at the flip side, I'm aware that the reason that traits like Barrage and Psionic Blast exist in the form that they do is because of cards like the Termagant that you have to deal with and get through. And it's pretty difficult to do that unless you have traits that do adjacent damage or other traits. So things that cause problems are necessary because of some of my favorite tools. Ooh. Bad draw already, guys. And I didn't quite see, but I don't think that the Termagant was an option there. It wasn't. Okay. Nope. Now, going heavy psychic is really good because it gives me a chance to do attacks that I won't be hit back for. So he doesn't attack first if I'm not hit, if he doesn't have the attack type that I'm hitting with, obviously. Yeah. Ah, gross. And again, not hitting back with that attack type, but I am definitely losing these guys. This guy is dying way faster than I wanted him to. He's getting the kills, but at what cost? Okay. Now I have to be really, really careful about playing this. I want this guy to live long enough to get me one more row of opponents. I'm not sure I'm going to get there. He is not. Yeah, he's down enough that I can shoot him before he shoots me back. Oh, got him. Nice. So this guy's barrage took out that last shield. There's still 4 of them left, though. And my Turvagon just isn't dying. Okay. One great thing about the Lion's ability is he doesn't give you bonus attacks. He just lets you attack first, but not twice. And that's good. Her. Now, why did I do that? I wanted to avoid Big Gabe Hunter. And that gives me 2 kills. And I'm still in it. Bummer. Okay. Not that time. And here's the thing, where as long as I'm able to keep this flank down a bit, I can do some extra damage here and take down these shields and potentially build up a big enough attack to just hit him. This will take down all of his shields, which is incredible. Just being able to take down his shields before I fully engage. Oh, we did it. Okay. Woo. Okay. Turvagon. Turvagon took me home. Thank you, Turvagon. Thank you. Okay, we're going to leave it there. I'm going to end on a high note. Good luck. Let me know what you think about it, or maybe don't. Let me know how you do in the campaign. Would love to talk about it. I think it's really important to have campaigns like this. I enjoy them, even though they are extremely challenging. But yeah, at the same time, I get that it's frustrating as a new player and not being able to participate. But tomorrow we're going to have 2 different campaigns that will be more built towards newer players. So you got it. It goes up and down. Not every campaign is for everyone, but I think you can do this one. I think you're underselling yourself. Anyway, good luck out there.